everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Paige and today I am telling you the books that I read in June. This is my June wrap up. I know super late. I have not been making videos, so I'm just going back and letting you guys know what I've been reading because I've still been reading. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try not to take too long telling you about these books because there are 33 books that I read in June. So let's go ahead and get started. I had 22 5-star reads. I had 9 4-star reads and 2 3-star reads. So the first book I read is Queen Takes Checkmate by Julie Sue Burkhard. The second one is Queen Takes Triune by Julie Sue Burkhard. And the third one is Queen Takes More by Julie Sue Burkhard. This is the 3 last books in that series. It's a vampire reverse harem series. I had just been reading paranormal romances for the paranormal romance readathon, and I wanted to finish up that series and continue on in it. It's a really great series. It's very bloody, so just, if you're squeamish, just want to give that warning, but it is so good. It's about this human girl. She thinks she's human, but she turns out to be like half vampire, and she becomes this queen of their territory or whatever, and she takes up all these, I think it's like 10 11 12, I can't even remember, however they're called, her blood, and that's like her harem. So really great series. Glad I finished it out. And then I read Knotted by Pam Godwin. Of course, rated this one 5 stars. This was so good. Very a lot of trigger warnings in it for sexual abuse in it. The book starts out where the hero and the heroine are, they've grown up together. I think they're 15, I think, when the book starts out, and they love each other. They were in a relationship, and then something tragic happens where she is abused right in front of the hero, and her father ends up moving her away, and she doesn't see the hero for a few years. She comes back, and he does a really jerk move. He's, just kind of like flaunts another girl in front of her, saying, he's moved on, so she should too. But there are reasons why he did that. You don't know at that time, but there's reasons. There's so like a romance suspense storyline throughout this book, because they're all working towards keeping her safe, because him and his brother and her brother, they're all working to keep her safe. And this is their relationship, and of course she is just dealing with a lot of internal struggles from her abuse, and it's a phenomenal story. It's the first book in the series, and I want to continue on reading in that series. The second book I read is Revelation by Rowe. This is the second book in that trilogy. I don't remember what the trilogy is called off the top of my head. This is about Josh and Kat. This Kat is the sister of the Morgan brothers from the Morgan Brothers series. And this just continues on in their relationship, how this, they first met through mutual friends, and they've just been kind of all having to work together to combat this almost like a mafia type gang from going after them. And then of course, she goes back home, and this is like them continuing on. He's never really been in a relationship guy before, so he is like learning how to be a boyfriend to her, and also trying to fight the feelings off himself. And then I read Consummation, which is the third book in the trilogy, and this just completes their love story. Just such a phenomenal series. I really enjoyed reading this trilogy because I saw her character a lot in the Morgan Brothers series. The next book I read is Speechless by Elle Parker. Hi everybody, I am editing my video, and I realized that I made a total mistake, and I gave the wrong description of the wrong book. So anyway, I just wanted to jump in here real quick and explain what Speechless is about. It is a phenomenal story, very unique. The heroine of the story has been abducted and kept prisoner by a very evil man, and he has horribly abused her. But she escapes one day, and she is found by this man. He's a doctor, and he takes care of her. Him and his assistant, they just take her in. She does not remember who she is because she has just suppressed all her memories, and she is just trying to overcome the abuse she has suffered for so many years. And she and the doctor kind of form a really close bond that turns into a relationship. And really it's sort of a daddy and little girl situation too. So the story goes on from there. She the guy that had kidnapped her originally is still after her. So there's a lot that goes on in this story. There's just so much packed in this book, and it was such a delight to read. But it does have a lot of trigger warnings for abuse and all that. So just warn you before you start reading it, but it was an excellent read, and I rated it 5 stars. Then I read From the Embers by Elle Martinez. This, I rated it 5 stars as well. Well, the hero and the heroine are both married, and they live right next door to each other. So the hero's wife is best friends with the heroine. They're kind of like on a double date at the heroine's house when this bomb explodes like in the house. Like the house blows up and it catches on fire, and it's due to like the propane tank or something. So the hero thinks that he grabs his wife and pulls her out of the house. He's gonna go back in to rescue his friend and his wife. Well, the house is just gone. The fire is too bad. He can't go back in, and he realizes that he saved his wife's friend. And so his wife and the heroine's husband both die in the house. And so now they are left, the hero and the heroine, they both lost their spouses. They both have kids, and they kind of team up together in their grief in such a horrible time. They team up together to try to help each other. Like tries to help take care of his daughter. He tries to help take care of her kids. He moves on, he doesn't have a house anymore, so he moves in the guest house on her property, and it's just their relationship that's formed from this indescribable grief from losing their spouses and everything that comes with that. They're both single parents, and it's such a beautiful story. I loved it so much. Then I began the first book in the Scarred Soul series by Tillie. This is Raze, and I rated it 5 stars. This is about a guy who was abducted when he was a little boy into this like underground sort of fighters. Like they trained him to be a fighter to the death. You cannot win unless you kill your opponent. And they inject him with drugs to make him stronger and to forget like his past life. And all he's known is this until he meets up with the heroine, and they actually knew each other. They all think that he died, and they meet back up later in life, and she figures out who he is, and then she's trying to help him remember who he is, and this is their story of learning each other again. And he had such a horrible life, but this is him coming out of that and them falling back in love with each other, and it was so good. I loved it. I had to go to the next book in the series, which is Reap. This revolves around another fighter, boy who was taken, and he grew up in this horrible situation. His brother was actually the one that helped the guy from the first book. And so the guy from the first book, you know, after he realizes who he is and everything, he is determined to help rescue his friend's brother because his friend has died. And so that is who is in the next book. That's his story, and this is his romance with the sister of the hero from the first book. And so he has just lost his mind. Like, he is just crazed from, you know, the drugs they put in him and the life he's had to live, until she is the only one that kind of like treats him like a human, and he really bonds to her. And it's so sad what these guys go through in these books, but each of their romances are so special because they are coming out of this horrible life and realizing that there is more to life than what they have known. And they're just so good. Then I read Ravage, which is the third book in the series, and then I read Riot, the fourth book in the series. So they're all based on one of these people who have been in this underground ring of fighters, and they're just such a good series. I could not put it down. Then I read Two Boyfriends Are Better Than One by Guy New York. I rated this one 4 stars. So this was a shorter audiobook that I listened to on Scribd. I'm having trouble even remembering what it was. It was not memorable, but it was okay. I mean, I'm guessing I rated it 4 stars, so I'm guessing it was okay. I don't know. I'm blanking on the story. Hold on. Oh, yes. Now I remember. This is about a girl. She has always fantasized about being with more than 2 guys at one time. She meets these 2 guys who are already in a relationship, and they're, you know, looking for a third, like a woman to join their menage. And it was a good story because, you know, it's a shorter story, but it was still good. But I wish it was longer, and I wish that I don't know how to say this, like, all the story was told in her point of view while she's running, because she's a runner. She, you know, trains for marathons, and so these are all her thoughts while she's running. It's nothing, you don't really see her interact with the 2 guys at all, except for just like past thoughts. So like, she's already met them, or she's already been with them, and then you see it unfold like through her memories. I didn't really enjoy that because I wish it was like in real time, you know, written like while they were, you know, all being together at the same time. But it was just weird. So that's what kind of threw me off on this, but it was still a pleasant story. She met these 2 guys. They're in a relationship with each other, but they're wanting more, and she joins their you know, relationship, and it was good. It was okay. I would probably bring it down to 3 now that I'm thinking about it. 3 stars, but it was decent. The next one is Sinfully Mine by Nicky James, and I am not going to go into depth with this one except saying this is a taboo book. It deals with taboo themes, and I rated it 4 stars because it was very entertaining. It was, you know, really captivated your attention. But, you know, of course, I couldn't give it that 5th star rating because of, you know, it's just not realistic. But it was good for what it was. I enjoy reading it. I have started to read Nicky James books, and I really enjoy her stories, her writing, and I just don't want to give too much away about this book. It is an MM book, so this is about Emerson, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but that's about all I can tell you because it would just she purposely doesn't give a much of a blurb on the book anyway, because it's supposed to be going into it blind. Then I read the Mixtape by Brittainy C. Cherry. I rated this one 5 stars. This is her, I think it's her newest book, and it was so amazing. This is about a girl who meets this guy who is a famous musician, but he just recently lost his brother. Him and his brother were like a duo band, and he lost his brother, and he just is in this public bar just wasted, and so she helps get him back to her place until the next day when, you know, he can communicate to her like where he needs to go. And he sees that she needs, you know, she's struggling, she's a single mom, she's struggling to make ends meet, so he gives her a job as a chef at his house, his private chef. And this is their story. Very, very good. Of course, it's emotional, but so good. And then I read I listened to another shorter audiobook on Scrib. This is The Power of Three by Caite Pierce. This is an alien romance. This is about a girl who somehow or another, I don't remember how she became to be on this alien planet. This is a planet that there has to be like 2 or 3 in a relationship, but then they're like matched with somebody that is compatible with them, and then so it's 2 alien guys that are in this relationship together, and then one of them meets this girl while they're like fighting in this battle, and he decides that she will be a perfect fit for their relationship situation. I rated it 4 stars. It was okay. Obviously, I don't like remember a ton about it, but it was okay. Then I read Sliding Into Love by Quinn Arthurs. This is a contemporary reverse harem. I really enjoyed this one. This is about a single mom. She is divorced because her husband, you know, he realized that he was gay, and so they, you know, just divorced, and so he could be with who he wanted to be. And now she is single, and she moves into this neighborhood, and she meets the guy living next door. You know, him and his friends, her kids have to go be with their dad over the summer, so now she's by herself for the first time. So they kind of like, you know, take pity on her and be like, hey, you know, you want to come over, hang out, watch a baseball game. So she becomes friends with him and his friends, and this ends up being a relationship between all of them, and it was so good. I love a lot of reverse harem stories take place like in like a paranormal situation, or like an paranormal academy, but I really enjoy the ones that are my favorites are like the contemporary romances. So very good, and I rated it 5 stars. Then I read The Protege by Brianna Hale. This I also rated 5 stars. I have come to realize that I adore Brianna Hale's books. Thank you to Tamika for always promoting Brianna Hale's books, because I have not read a single Brianna Hale book that I have disliked. So this is about a guy who discovers this girl on the sidewalk one day. She's a little girl that she's playing her cello for money, and he kind of, you know, he asks her dad like, hey, can I take her in, because he sees something in her. So he kind of raises her and as a guardian and as her music teacher, and she is just this brilliant cello player, and she goes on to become very, you know, brilliant, until there is something that tears them apart. And so they've been separated for a while, and when they come back together, because she's kind of flailing in life, and because he was her rock really in life, and she comes back, and they agree to, you know, work together again, and this is their relationship. Of course, it's an age gap. Love it so much. Then I read Priest by Simone. I rated this one 4 stars. I just couldn't rate it 5 stars because I didn't love it quite as much as everyone else seems to. Just, I don't know, it was just I was kind of bored with it at times because it just seemed like it focused so much on the sexual side of the relationship instead of more of them getting to know each other in other ways. I don't know, it lacks some of the chemistry that I thought it needed. But this is about a priest who meets this woman who comes in to confess her sins, and she's not religious, but you know, she has these guilty thoughts and things she's done, and so she feels like she needs to do this. And of course there is instant attraction between them, and of course it's highly forbidden for him as a priest to have a relationship, and he has to choose whether he's going to, you know, have this relationship and walk away from being a priest, or, you know, keep being a priest and walk away from her. So it is very highly, kind of a really taboo nature because of him being a priest. And but it was really good. I'm not saying it was bad, but I wish it just had a little bit extra chemistry between them to really, you know, feel connected to the characters. Then I read Broke Down by Sharan Daire. This is a pen name for Jolie Sue Burkhard. She's the one who wrote the Vampire Reverse Harem series. I'm blanking on the series name. I always do this. But she wrote this contemporary reverse harem, and I absolutely adored it. I rated it 5 stars. This is about a single mom who has 2 kids. She's trying to survive on barely anything. She's had a deadbeat husband who won't take care of them. She has been working, it just hasn't been enough. So she finally leaves, and she's gonna go try to find her grandmother that she, you know, knew when she was a little girl, and try to start a new life for them. And her car breaks down, and she is rescued by this police officer. He takes her to the lodge that he and his friends, they like co-own it. And there she meets him and his friends. And they notice, you know, how she needs a lot of help. And they adore her kids. They instantly take her in and her kids. And it's just such a wonderful, wonderful story. I loved it so much. This is, of course, reverse harem, so it's a relationship with her between all of the guys. Then I read Team Players by Stephanie Brother. I rated this one 4 stars. I don't even remember what this one was about. Hold on, I'll have to check. Okay, now I remember. This is about a girl. She has inherited this house from her estranged father. And when he died, you know, of course he died, and she comes to, you know, check it out because her plans are just to sell it because she is pregnant. She's 19, she's pregnant, she needs the money. But she discovers that her dad had been fostering all these boys. I mean, they're not boys, this is new adult. And there's 11 of them, and they all like take her under their wing, sort of. And this is her relationship with all 11 of her foster brothers. I mean, it's technically, but I mean, she hadn't seen her dad. Hasn't seen her dad in such a long time. So they're strangers to her. It was okay. I feel like that I rated some of these too high. I probably would rate it back to a 3, or 3.5. But anyway, that's what that one is about. And then I read A Worthy Opponent by Katee Robert, and also The Beast by Katee Robert. These are books continuing on in her series of like Disney fairy tale retellings, but with the villain as the hero or heroine. A Worthy Opponent centers around Hook and Tinkerbell, and then The Beast, of course, centers around the Beast and I don't remember her name. It wasn't Belle, it was something else. But I love all of these books in her series of the fairy tale retellings. Just such a good series, and of course I rated them both 5 stars. Then I read Huge Times 10 by Stephanie Brother. I rated this one 4 stars as well. Probably would go down to a 3.5, but round up to a 4. This is also another one that is a reverse harem, which is a girl who ends up being with 10 guys and it's on like a ranch situation, and she and the mom are actually conspiring together because she wants all her boys, and she's literally like, they're all adopted. She and her husband had adopted all these boys, and she wanted a woman to be, you know, kind of one woman for all of them, so it wouldn't break them up, because they all live together in the house and on this ranch, and she just wants all of them to stay close and to keep this ranch going. And so this is their story. Then I read The Sea Witch by Katee Robert and Queen Takes Rose by Katee Robert, and I finished out the series. The Sea Witch revolves around Ursula, which it's a little bit different in the book, and Ariel, but it's also, the names are a little bit different than that. And then of course Queen Takes Rose is Aurora, and I don't remember the other woman's name, but that's actually an FF romance. So good. I loved all of the books in her series so much. Then the next one was Securing Piper by Susan Stoker, Securing Caite by Susan Stoker, Defending Chloe by Susan Stoker, and Protecting Caroline by Susan Stoker. I don't want to get into detail on these books because I'll be here forever. 2 of them, the first 2 are rated 5 stars, and then 3 stars, and then 4 stars. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Susan Stoker. Some of her newer books are a lot better than some of her older books. There's just some problematic things that I find in her books, usually where the heroine always thinks, you know, oh, I'm too fat, you know, this guy's not gonna like me, and the guy thinking, oh, she's gonna eat all that, you know, that type of stuff just bugs me. And it's like, okay, let's not think of, you know, have this stereotypical thinking, and it just bugs the crap out of me. But I like the romance suspense about these books, because usually the heroine is in this dangerous situation that the hero and his team, because they're usually in the military or some type of, you know, police or firefighters or whatever, they are there to help protect the heroine out of a dangerous situation. And that's really the part that I like about these books. I love a hero rescuing the heroine and just loving her with absolutely all of his being. So if you know of any books that are like that but that are not Susan Stoker, let me know, because I really want to read some that aren't Susan Stoker. Then I read Insane by Nicky James. I rated this one 4 stars. This one also is taboo. This revolves around the situation where okay, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. You just have to go in blind, but it is taboo in nature, so beware. Then I read Protecting Alabama by Susan Stoker. Rated it 3 stars. Probably would even rate it a 2.5. This one really bugged the crap out of me. I did not like it as well, but of course I like the rescuing part of it and protecting her and all that. And the last book I read for the month of June is Unexpected by Megan D'Urso. It only has like 8 reviews on it on Goodreads, so it is very well. I loved it. I rated it 5 stars. So this book is about a girl who, she has just been divorced. They mutually, you know, agreed that, you know, they're not the right fit for each other. She got laid off from her job, so now she's back home living with her parents at 25, and she ends up having this one night stand with this guy, which was her best friend's dad. She ends up being pregnant, and so they are trying to navigate this together. They're not together in a relationship. She does move in with him because she has kind of a falling out with her parents, because they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Are they going to raise this baby together? Are they going to, you know, give it out for adoption? She goes into for an abortion, but she just couldn't follow through with it. There's just so many aspects, you know, that they're having to consider, you know, whether they're going to raise this child together or not. Plus, with it being, nobody knows that they have been together, and it would be, you know, kind of strange because it's her best friend's dad, and her best friend is his son, and this is their relationship. And it was so good. There's a lot of emotional aspects in this book because there's loss in this book, and she's having to overcome so much, and them just having to work through everything and to be together. And of course there's a lot of prejudice against them as a couple because, you know, there's such a age gap, and plus it's her best friend's dad. So it was just really great. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, those are all the books that I read in June. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you think about them. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.